When I taught fifth grade, every year I taught students a story we read together. The story was called Grandma's Garden. In the story Grandma's Garden, the main character asks her family to purchase a home as she would like to make a garden for her family. Her grandmother had told her stories about the garden that she had at her home when she lived in the South before moving to the place where they live in the story. At the end of the story, the main character is walking home from school when she comes to a vacant lot that members of the community had transformed into a community garden. That is the inspiration for the new arm that I have programmed into PlantForm. When she approaches the garden, there is a table that has been set up by a woman who is signing people up to work in the community garden. And I have programmed that into PlantForm, and this video will demonstrate how that arm of PlantForm works. So without being logged into PlantForm, if you click on Garden View now, you see that the gardens that are currently set up will show up in the Gardens Online page with some short instructions. If you enroll in a garden, that means that it's the same thing as the young girl in Grandma's Garden walking up to the table and signing up for the garden. So by clicking on Enroll, I will be taken to a sign-in page, because you must be signed in order to be signed up for the enrollment. So once you log in, you are then able to enroll in the garden. And now I'm enrolled. From the enrollment screen, now we get a page that is almost identical to the garden view for somebody who has a garden. But this is different, because in this garden view, when you try to access any of the links that are normally there for planting the garden, none of the links plant, because it is a community garden. And the garden info page shows the same information, but when you click on any of the links or the link here, it doesn't give you the ability to change the garden. If you click on Grow Info, it shows you the same information about what is planted in the garden. And the new arm is extended off of the Garden Work page. So now we have a new Garden Work section of PlantForm that, as a person who is not the farmer but is who I have set up as the gardener, will have a sign up and a schedule. So in the sign up page, if you click sign up, each of the jobs that are present in PlantForm are now available for sign up. So if you click on the sign up link, it gives you a new form, so you can say new job for it has the name of the garden, and in here you put in the date and time when you would like to do this job task in that community garden. So let's say we're going to request a job in the garden, or we're going to sign up for this job tomorrow at, let's say, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then we will submit that. And now we can go, we have a new link here called the schedule, and if you click on the schedule link, you can see that this person now has the cultivate job. From this screen you can see that the job is unverified. That means that the farmer, or the person who is managing the garden, has not yet seen this request from this person to work in this specific garden. Now I'm going to take you to that garden from the farmer perspective. So we'll sign out of this account and then sign back in as the farmer for that garden. And now when we go into garden, we can click on garden work, and this shows some different things. In this view, you have the view enrolled, where if you click view enrolled, you see this is the person who just logged in and enrolled in the garden. And there'll be a list of all of the people who are enrolled in the garden. And if you go back to garden work, there is the create the different jobs buttons. So if I click create a feed job here, then I get a form with gardener. If all of the gardeners who are enrolled in this garden will pop up on this pop-up menu. Right now there's only one person enrolled, so there's only one person in the garden. And then you can place the time that the person is going to work in the garden. This is for people who walk up. So there is the ability to create a person who enrolls, or to enroll a person if they just arrive at the garden. And you can set to work at that time. And then here is the create feed job, and you can set that job. But if a person has not enrolled yet, so if a person comes to the community garden and is not enrolled, then you'll need to sign out and then create that person's enrollment in the garden before you can put a job for that person. And here is another job in this garden, and I'll just go ahead and put these jobs in here for the time that the person starts working in the garden. In the Manage Jobs page, there is the ability to change a job's true start time. When somebody who is enrolled in the garden and they put in a date and time, they might not make it there at exactly that date and time. So this allows, this is set up so that the farmer, or the person who's managing the garden at the time, is able to change the date and time to match the time the person actually starts. In the middle, you see that some of these are verified. Many of them are verified. Anytime a person comes to the garden, if they haven't already signed up for a job and the farmer creates the job from the garden work page here, and we create a feed job, and we create a job for that person enrolled, when we click work, it creates a job in the manage jobs screen, and the job is created already verified, because obviously the person is there and is going to do the task. When you get a task that is created from the internet, that is a person who decides they want to plan ahead to come and work in the garden, you will see all of these are verified except for this one. The garden manager, when they communicate with the person and they know that the person is going to come at that time, they can click on that checkbox and click update job, and now it takes them back to the work table, and they click back on work. You can see it changes that job to verified. That has also changed the job from the gardener side. So now if I sign out and then sign back in as the gardener, that is the person who wants to come and volunteer time or work in the garden, when they go to the garden and then click on garden work and then look at the schedule again, they see that that time has now been verified. So all of the jobs that were created for that person, those are all the jobs I created when I was logged in as the farmer, are showing as verified, including the new job that that this person just signed up for and that the farmer then verified. So at this point, at each of these dates and times for this garden, these tasks are assigned to this gardener. So now when I sign out and then sign back in as the farmer, I can now look at that garden. Oh, but I need to go into this garden. So the gardener has the ability to look at the garden from this perspective as well. So that the farmer is able to can sign up for specific tasks if they want to manage their own time in the garden, and they can look at their own schedule of tasks that they have signed up for and completed in the past. But if they go into the garden, they get the ability to alter the garden, as I demonstrated in the presentation for when I first started PlantForm. But now when they go into garden work and then manage work, now they're able to see that that job is verified. From here, the farmer has the ability to cancel a job. So if they click cancel here, now there are only 2 jobs here. That job has been deleted. That is in case, well, for whatever reason, the garden is going to be closed when that gardener has decided their start time is going to be. You can also change the time that it shows up for that gardener to arrive. And then also from here you can click done. And when the job is done, and you go back into manage work, that job no longer shows up. So this is the new arm of PlantForm. It is the garden work arm of PlantForm. In the future, the next step will be for me to develop a work log that tracks the amount of time that any specific gardener spends in the garden for whatever purposes you'd like. Perhaps some farmers may want to reward a gardener for the time that they've put into the garden. In addition to this, each one of the first and last name of a specific gardener, if you need to contact them as the farmer, you can click on that page or on that link and it'll take you to your email login. So you can send an email to that gardener from the Manage Jobs page. There is now a new report screen for, I call it the accounting screen. I told you about Manage Work last time, where you went in and you could click, once you've clicked on the Done button for all of the tasks, that information is never lost. So in Garden Work under Accounting, I've now created a report screen that shows each of the gardeners, all of the gardeners will be in this report, and it gives you the gardener's name, the job, the start and stop time, and the amount of time that was spent. Once I get more people using PlantForm, I will go ahead and then reconfigure this slightly. This is all for this gardener's garden. So every gardener will have their own garden, but I can set this up at a later time so that it filters by date, so that you can create a report that has all of the work done during a particular month, for instance. That might be beneficial. So this is the accounting link off of the garden work section of PlantForm.